What is poppin' YouTube? Back again, another live stream. Tonight we're doing another startup mock. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, joining. I know it's been great. Hopefully you've been checking out the videos the last 2 days talking about buy lows, quarterbacks you should buy. We did a rookie mock a few days ago. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out right now. And appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight, having fun. And without further ado, let us jump into this draft. So let us get it started. Just like that, we are off. And how are you guys all doing tonight? Having a good night, hopefully. Mahomes at the 101, Josh Allen at the 102. It's funny to think about last year how we were debating Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and how one Super Bowl is all it takes to make someone go to uh, the 101 again. So appreciate that. Justin Jefferson at the 103. I feel like that's a little early in a Superflex league to be going Justin Jefferson, but if you want that dynasty advantage, I totally understand. Jalen Hurts at the 104. We're hoping our guy falls to us. So this is if you watch the buy low video that just dropped today, we talked about two quarterbacks that we really like, but I'm hoping that one of these guys falls to us at the 109. We are going to have an auto draft line left joined up on the bat and about the auto. Typical. And Justin Herbert at the 105. Okay. Honestly, are you guys taking Justin Herbert or right now ahead? Well, I would be taking Joe Burrow over both, but it's close. Okay. 108. Is our man about to fall to us? Please, Chief, suck. Please, please let our man fall so we can talk about him. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed right now. Which leaves us someone that I would have as high as my QB4 right now, Lamar Jackson. A lot to be said about Lamar Jackson. We can say the uncertainty, the quarterback, controversy happening in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson is a stud. Even though he misses years, or not years, but misses games due to injury the last few years, dude's still putting up 24 fantasy points per game, which wins you leagues. And that's the type of upside we're chasing, especially at the 1-9. 110, Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson at the 111, Breece Hall at the 112, Ken Walker at the 2-1. Going heavy RB. Heavy RB to start off their Rack City. So interesting. Haven't seen that philosophy done recently. CeeDee Lamb at the 2-3. It leaves us Deshaun Watson at the 2-4. I literally just talked about both these guys in my video today. I would have taken Deshaun Watson over Kyler Murray, Breece Hall, Ken Walker. I probably would take Bijan Robinson still over Deshaun Watson, but I'm feeling pretty good about my start here with two really stud QBs. Now, if we're looking at the sleeper ADP, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are currently still ahead of Deshaun Watson. I think I'm still, even with the terrible year that Deshaun Watson had last year, and a lot of people thinking, oh, will he ever regain that top 5 quarterback that he was? I think taking a shot at the 2-4 after you already have Lamar Jackson, you have the ability to have two game-wrecking QBs to start off your draft, and both are still under the age of 27. So super young to still be able to have flexibility later in the draft to go win now and or rebuilding, or even just young and contending, which is the type of rosters I like to build. CJ Stroud at the 2-5, and then Dak Prescott at the 2-6. Jordan, are you in here watching this live and or appreciate the two viewers that are currently tuning in? Appreciate you guys tonight for tuning into this live. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you as well. Bryce Young at the 2-7. We're currently on the grind to get to 150 subs. I am 10 away. So that is the big channel goal. We're releasing a video a day. We're trying to do 3 to 4 lives a week is current schedule. So appreciate everyone for checking out the channel. If you're a returner, appreciate you. If you're new, appreciate you as well. Jalen Waddle at the 2-8. Wide receiver, 4 off the board? I think I'm still taking Garrett Wilson over Jalen Waddle. I'm not taking Garrett Wilson ahead of A.J. Brown, though. So I did like that pick there from G. Moen. CMC at the 2-10. Did I not do I assumed everyone assumed this was Dynasty, but you never know. Garrett Wilson at the 2-12. Jordo, you're hitting on it, man. Garrett Wilson is my guy. Who are you going to take right here? This is you got a long time to wait before it comes back to you. So you got to make the most of this opportunity. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 2-11, I feel like is really good value as well. I mean, you can't go wrong in the first 2 picks. I just the Breece Hall, Ken Walker at 112, 2-1 threw me off a little bit. Jonathan Taylor at the 3-1. Yeah. It's hard to pull the trigger on these running backs in startups and mock drafts, but you definitely have the QB1. You definitely have someone that could potentially be the RB1 over the next 1 or 2 years. And then Garrett Wilson has the upside to be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. I like those picks for you. Wait on that quarterback. T. Higgins at the 3-2. We as a channel really do believe in T. Higgins, so we love to see it. And this is where I think the tear off, right after the Garrett Wilson pick is where the tear off in wide receiver happens for me. Anthony Richardson at the 3-3. So Anthony Richardson has been slowly climbing. Earlier this offseason, like right before the draft combine, Anthony Richardson was going in the 6th round. Draft combine happens literally day after he's in the 5th round. Day after he's like in the 4th round, and now he's made himself all the way to 3-3. Debatably, people are already putting Anthony Richardson ahead of Bryce Young. So the fact that he's going, what do we say, like almost a half round later is what we've been seeing. I think that's really good value to get Anthony Richardson. Now, as my QB1 in a Superflex league, I'd feel a little bit risky about it, but especially when Jaw Dog already went with Justin Jefferson and CMC, so you're a little bit more of a win now with the CMC build. I would be a little bit nervous about Anthony Richardson as my quarterback. So unless I'm getting some veterans later in the rounds, I'd feel a little bit better about that. Austin Eckler in the 3-6. I've been seeing Austin Eckler go in the 3rd round. I'm not feeling great about it, just due to age, due to his uncertainty. And we know these running backs, it's almost impossible for us to predict them on a year-to-year basis, just based on how the whole running back landscape is constantly changing. So we like to get the young, athletic. I probably would have gone ETN, Jahmyr Gibbs over Austin Eckler. And we're about to be back on the clock, so we need to shut our trap. And we're looking. Okay. There's a lot of guys we like, but I'm taking Travis Kelce at the 3-9. It feels early for Travis Kelce based on age. The only thing is right now I have him and Pitts tied for my tight end 1. I just think Travis Kelce over the next 2 years puts up similar, and even if it's a little less production than what he had this year, that's fine. But I like to play in 2 or 3 year windows, and Travis Kelce definitely helps that window. Maybe we should have gone Kyle Pitts because I am a huge Kyle Pitts believer. I couldn't take the value of Travis Kelce falling to the 3-9 to. And I feel like a lot on these streams, like I'm talking about age, like I'm talking about trying to get younger, but there are select guys where like these dudes are studs and we just need to take them and ride them out. Cooper Kupp at the 3-12. Honestly, would have been someone we would have considered at the 4-4 just based on the build. I know Cooper Kupp, I've been seeing him go in startups somewhere around 4-7 to 4-11 recently. So I would have been a little bit nervous about it being a little too early, but we'll see kind of what falls to us. Yeah, the tight ends are definitely falling. Let me scroll up so everyone can see. Rack City, draft Travis Etienne. I was kind of hoping Travis Etienne was going to fall to me, but he didn't. So we're going to just probably end up, well, I shouldn't say what we're about to do, but we're probably just going to punt running back. Drake London at the 4-2. That was also someone I was going to be considering at the 4-4. It just puts you in an interesting predicament when we're about to get to this, and I'm literally just harping on age and why I like young guys. And Jordan, I think a quarterback might fall to you, and I'm freaking ticked that might happen. We'll see what happens here. Stephon Diggs off the board. So Stephon Diggs was where we were leaning, just getting him at the 4-3. So we were looking at wide receiver. We got our 2 quarterbacks, and I have 20 seconds to make my mind. Jackson Smith-Njigba just feels early. Not early. This is where he's been going. I'm nervous. He is my wide receiver 1 of the class, but we're just going to have to do it. I don't feel great about it. I think the difference between Jackson Smith-Njigba and Jordan Addison and Quentin Johnson isn't as far off as we may seem, because we're going to see most likely Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston go from the 5'10" to 6'7" range. And I don't think the gap between JSN and them is that high. I just think right now as a dynasty community, after everything that JSN did at the combine, after what he did in the Rose Bowl 2 years ago, and just the fact that people were Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson have hyped him up and said, "Hey, he's the best version of us," and we saw what they just did this last season, and what Amon-Ra St. Brown did, and who everyone's comparing JSN to. I think we're really high on JSN. So, depending on landing spot, this might change, but of course we don't necessarily know that at this current moment. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and being here tonight. Feel free to leave a comment, ask any questions as we do this live stream. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you as well. We're trying to get to 150 subs. So if you haven't subbed already, make sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Best free way to support the channel as we continue to do more. Tua goes at the 4-5. Honestly, Jordan, that's who I thought might fall to you. Tua has been falling, but great value at the 4-5. Devontae Adams at the 4-6. Trey Lance at the 4-7. There's a lot of guys I'd prefer over Trey Lance here. We're talking Jordan Love. We are talking Kenny Pickett. No, I still prefer Trey Lance over Kenny Pickett. I know I was just talking about that day. Will Levis for sure, and Jordan Love over Trey Lance. But then we had Jahmyr Gibbs. Feel like that's great value for Jahmyr Gibbs. Devontae Smith at the 4-9. Geno Smith at the 4-10. That feels a little risky, a little early there, Jude Dog. But like we said, you're going with your build and you're going with your guys. Christian Watson at the 4-11. Then Jordan's on the board with back-to-back picks. Mark Andrews at the 4-12. Steele falling all the way that far. And then we're going to have one more selection here. Is he going to go quarterback? I mean, Jordan Love is right there on the board, Jordan. Who has the triple? Oh, the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Devontae Smith. That's a nice stack. Yeah, good call out, Gabe, in the chat. Oh, Jordan. Who are you going to choose? Oh, Josh Jacobs at the 5-1. Okay, loading up on 2 running backs, a quarterback, or not one quarterback, got the best quarterback. But it's interesting to see what Jordan's going to do with the rest of his build. Couch GM is back on the clock. I do love me some Jahmyr Gibbs. I would also argue that the JSN Jahmyr Gibbs is a lot closer than one may think, especially in rookie drafts. And I think a lot of that's going to do with people's flavor in your rookie drafts. Treylon Burks at the 5-2. We are a huge Treylon Burks believer show. The fact that he went ahead of Jameson Williams, that hasn't been happening a lot recently in our drafts. But I think as people start to realize that Treylon Burks is maybe the only pass catcher in the offense, we'll start to change some minds here in the coming weeks for these startups. Deebo Samuel at the 5-3. Judog is going full win now, I think. Just taking the value that falls to him. Najee Harris at the 5-4. I don't hate Najee as a hero running back build. So, Jordan, I definitely didn't want to do this draft this way, but sometimes you have to take the value where it is. Yeah. No, 100%. I think, I don't know. I might have grabbed a quarterback where you were at, but there's going to be plenty that fall back to you with a lot of people already having 2 quarterbacks, which it makes you realize how deep it is. So, like, as long as you get one stud and then you get a serviceable, like, Superflex option, QB2, like, you can build out the rest of your roster. I'm just going to be intrigued to see what you do with your receiver core and how that goes over the next few rounds. Just glad we're not picking back-to-back. Otherwise, we'd be sniping each other. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button. Put out 4 videos over the last 4 days. We're going to be doing about a video a day. We're going to be doing 4 live streams a week for hopefully the rest of this whole off season, doing Dynasty, and then around June, we kind of transition into redraft leagues and go from there. Yeah, they're hitting on this with the Joe Burrow, Bryce Young, Trey Lance, Russell Wilson, just cornering the QB market. I've done that in a few leagues. Only issue with cornering the QB market is then people won't trade with you, and you're then stuck holding the bag. I mean, granted, they put up points on your bench. And we're back on the board. We don't necessarily, the highest rated player I have, and he has done nothing to prove it, is Jameson Williams. I love me some JMO. And I know he hasn't proven anything. And I literally have 2 wide receivers, JSN and JMO, that have proven zilch. And I realize I have a tight end that is. So now looking at it, we probably should have just gone with Kyle Pitts based on this build. Mistakes were made. We admit it. So maybe next time we just need to understand Kyle Pitts might not score as many fantasy points as Travis Kelce over the next 2 seasons, but then the youth is on our side to build out our roster. I still like the value of Travis Kelce at the 3.9. I think it's just hard for me to consider taking anybody else over. Like, it's hard for me to pick Kyle Pitts, even in my fandom, over Travis Kelce. DJ Moore at the 5.10, Jerry Jeudy at the 5.11. I just feel like it's time to sell Jerry Jeudy. When you're getting him at the 5.11, like, if you could swing Jerry Jeudy for Michael Pittman, Jamo, or even DJ Moore at this point, I think I'm doing it. Like I said, Quentin Johnson at the 6.2, second rookie wide receiver of the board, and he goes almost a round and a half later. So I think Quentin Johnston is a good value QJ. I think we were hoping for a little bit more height on him, a little bit more speed based on the NFL Combine, but and we're about to be back on the clock. We're looking at running back. We can still continue to punt that. We really just need to hammer wide receiver, but the value, I don't love all the value. I think my quarterback that I want is still going to be there in the next round. So Chris Godwin, I love me some Chris Godwin. I just think he's a little overvalued. We're going Calvin Ridley. I know he's all the way down the board, but we need some solid production. I know he's 28. He's about to turn 29, so he's going to be 29 years old. But the last time we saw Calvin Ridley, dude's a dog. And getting Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback of his career, to be throwing him the ball. Matt Ryan was good. Don't get me wrong. But Trevor Lawrence, this is another level. This is like young Trevor Lawrence, stud, first-round Dynasty pick. Throwing to Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is better than Christian Kirk, and we saw how good Christian Kirk was this year. I wonder what the target share is going to be like. Even if he does have a 22 or 23% target share, I'm not concerned about Calvin Ridley, even if it is a little bit lower targets than what he's seen previously in his career. I imagine the percentage of quality of those targets are going to be going up. So excited for Calvin Ridley this year. George Pickens at the 6.5, Tony Pollard at the 6.6, George Kittle at the 6.7, Daniel Jones at the 6.8. So if my player falls back to me in the 7th round, we are going to have a serious discussion here in the chat. Serious discussion. But we'll see. Jordan Addison seems like he's fallen a little bit. I wonder if that's based on the combine, if it's based on just kind of all the Twitter hype that was around him of JSN versus Jordan Addison. It was like that all season and off season, and then the combine comes, we get those measurables. It's not looking pretty for Jordan Addison. But you can't always control how much you weigh or your size. You kind of just based on what God has given you in that regard. Terry McLaurin at the 6.10, Brandon Ayuk at the 6.11. Jordan, I'm sure you were hoping Brandon Ayuk was going to fall to you because Brandon Ayuk is a dog. And if he gets traded, Couch is just going straight wide receivers, just straight hogging the market. Josh, appreciate you stopping in here tonight, man. Yeah, we need to get another you in one of these again. It's going to be really important for you too. And as we were talking, Jordan went ahead and selected Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love. That was who I was talking about. The fact that Jordan Love is going after Kirk Cousins and Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson is ridiculous. Guys, Jordan Love has proven absolutely nothing. Like absolutely nothing. But we have to take in consideration first round draft pick. He's going to be taking over an offense that has a very good coach in Matt LaFleur. And he is only 24 years old. And in the small sample size that we've seen him, we've heard good things and we've seen good things. At the last time, granted, when he first started that game against Kansas City in his second year, it did not look high. It did not look good at all. And a lot of people are writing Jordan Love off. But the fact that he still has 2 years on his rookie deal, he's going to be the starter because he's a first-round pick. I'm excited for Jordan Love. And granted, he's not the Konami code quarterback that we all want, that it can run and escape. But the difference between Trey Lance and Jordan Love right now is almost – I saw him yesterday go in the 6th round, so he goes in the 7th round. This 3 rounds is not enough. Like, that shouldn't be the difference. So, like, if I can trade down from Trey Lance and get Jordan Love, like, if I would Trey Lance, I would honestly offer him straight up for Jordan Love, because once Jordan Love gets on the field and Aaron Rodgers officially gets traded, it's all wheels up for Jordan Love. and Jordan Love's going to be a top 13, 14 dynasty quarterback going into the season this season. So excited for that. Jordan Addison finally goes off the board at the 7-4. Chris Godwin at the 7-5. I'm disappointed for Chris Godwin. I was hoping they would get a better quarterback than Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield, and they didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some future trading that happens. I imagine Mike Evans isn't probably on the team just based on his cap hit and the fact that they're not trying to be competitive. Maybe they think Chris Godwin's going to be the long term there just based on his age and his contract. But for my Mike Evans and Chris Godwin shares, we're not feeling too hot. Derrick Henry at the 7-6. Derrick Henry gives me vibes of like Jerome Bettis, and I think we're all worried about him as like this 29-year-old running back, but he's just going to keep chugging along until he's like 32. That's kind of like the impression that I get with Derrick Henry. Zach Charbonnet off at the 7-8, and we are back on the clock. We haven't taken a running back yet, but we don't care because we're just going to keep hammering wide receivers. We really do like Hollywood Brown, but do I take Hollywood Brown? Going off my own rankings? No. I'm going Jahan Dotson. And the reason I'm going Jahan Dotson is if you look at his peripherals, you look at his analytics, Jahan Dotson performed very well as the number 2 to Terry McLaurin. Now, a lot of it was touchdown dependent last season, but with the new addition, new offensive coordinator, hopefully new quarterback, whether it's Sam Howell, whether they trade for Lamar Jackson, whether they get someone in the draft, Jahan Dotson, with that first-round draft pedigree that he had from last draft, all wheels up for Jahan Dotson. J.K. Dobbins at 11-11. Joe Mixon at the 7-12. Jared Goff at the 8-1. So my man is going heavy RB. I guess he's on auto. So we have Breece Hall, Ken Walker, Cooper Kupp, Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, and then Joe Mixon and Jared Goff. Interesting strategy, going full running back. And we're back on the board. We're looking probably for our first RB1. And at the 8-4, we'll see who falls to us. But we're taking Miles Sanders. I know it's early. You might say, Caleb, I prefer Dalvin Cook. Caleb, I prefer Dameon Pierce. I prefer Cam Akers. Those are all great things to say. The issue with Dynasty is these running backs and their contracts. Dalvin Cook could be a cut candidate, and honestly, he could play one more year, and then he's out of the league. And I'm not saying that because Dalvin Cook isn't good. Like, Miles Sanders is not as good as Dalvin Cook. But Miles Sanders just got a 3-year contract. And, like, essentially 2 years of it is guaranteed. So I know I have Miles Sanders for the next 2 years on the Carolina Panthers, who are going to be terrible, and they're probably going to have to run the ball with a rookie quarterback. So having that as my RB, hero RB, getting him in the 8th round, I feel a lot better with that value, knowing I can probably get another older running back in the coming rounds that will also put up similar production, but only for one season. D. Klauser in the chat said, Lance won't start and Wilson is trash, so he has 2. I think that's interesting. I think Lance, if it's very clear that Lance isn't going to start, I would imagine that there's no reason that the 49ers are going to keep Lance. They're going to probably trade Lance away. There's no way. You spent 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance, and you're just going to let him eat up his whole rookie deal without trading him or starting him. There's no way. Maybe there is a way, and the 49ers just love throwing away picks. Like, think about this. They spent 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance when they could have spent 2 first-round picks on Lamar Jackson. Put that into perspective. Hollywood Brown at the 8-7. Amari Cooper at the 8-8. Cam Akers at the 8-9. Alvin Kamara at the 8-10. I'm glad we grabbed running back. Alvin Kamara is also an interesting person. Like, I think I would have taken someone else over Alvin Kamara just based on the uncertainty of knowing how long Alvin Kamara is going to be in the league and if he's even going to play this year and what type of suspension he's probably going to have to serve. Mac Jones at the 8-11. Going in your season as Mac Jones as your QB3, you feel better. I'm glad he's not your QB2. Mac Jones, ooh. I guess he's a okay NFL quarterback, terrible fantasy quarterback. Just no upside. You just know he's giving you 12 points a game, 12 to 13. Deontay Johnson at the 8-12. Jordan, that's a good pick. Good pick. Lots of targets, even if they're crappy from Kenny Pickett. Then DeAndre Hopkins at the 9-1. We're assuming he gets traded. We're assuming he goes to a better situation. Not that Arizona was a bad situation. I mean, he was getting the ball thrown to him by Kyler Murray, but the fact that Kyler Murray's injured makes it even more prevalent for 31-year-old DeAndre Hopkins to go somewhere where he's going to be able to receive targets. He's going to be competitive. Where are spots we like him? We like him on the Bills. We like him with the Kansas City Chiefs. People are saying the Chicago Bears, like, I do not want him to go to Chicago Bears because they already have DJ Moore, already have Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. Imagine it's just the timeline doesn't really work out for them to pay DeAndre Hopkins. What do you think he's worth? Josh Downs at the 9-2, Aaron Rodgers at the 9-3. I actually earlier this offseason had Josh Downs in my top round one of my rookie drafts. I've actually moved Josh Downs into my second round. Zay Flowers has replaced Josh Downs as my wide receiver 4. And maybe Josh Downs is going to prove me wrong. Aaron Rodgers at the 9-3. Tyler Algier at the 9-4. We are not feeling good about Tyler Algier. I think he's going to get replaced just based on his draft capital. But he put up a really great season last season. I think the depth of this running back class, once we get into round 3 or 4 of the draft, like these teams are just going to go ham drafting all these guys, or even in the 5th round. Like a lot of talent that should be a 3rd or 4th pick will end up falling into the 4th and 5th round. And that's going to cause a lot of these, I think, later running backs to fall in your rookie drafts, but also to really push some of these well-known running backs for carries. I'm just saying it. If this guy falls to me, see, he wasn't going to fall. That's who I wanted. Dalvin Cook is who I wanted to fall. He did not end up falling to me. David Montgomery at the 9-8. That was also someone that I wanted to fall. We're looking at players available, and there's currently no one that fits the bill. There's a few wide receivers that we like. QB, we could go QB. We just need a running back. We do. We're just going to draft Aaron Jones, and we understand that this is a 1-year rental. We're understanding that Jordan Love, it's his first year on the field, and we're just hoping that someone else falls to me so that I can make this decision seem better than what it is. Because I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great. Isaiah Pacheco, Dalton Schultz, Keenan Allen, Michael Mayer, Mike Williams. Will he fall? Will he fall? D Clouds are 26. Don't you dare. Don't you dare do this to me, my man. Don't you freaking do it. Give him to me. Let him fall. Let him fall. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Are you kidding me? AJ Dillon was who I wanted. It was really who I wanted. And didn't happen. So now we're on to plan B, and we're fine with it, I guess. We're shooting for upside. I think Mike Evans is going to get traded. So we're going to just hope that Mike Evans, as our wide receiver, whatever, 5 on our team, that he gets traded, that he doesn't have Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball, because goodbye 1,000 yards, 8-time 1,000-yard receiving Mike Evans. Brutal. This might be a brutal end to his career if he ends up not getting traded, but I just feel like he's a cut or trade candidate for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Khalil Herbert at the 10-5. Man, Chief Sutgo is definitely going ham on the running backs. 4 straight rounds of running backs being taken. But that's what you do when you go heavy on all the other positions. You take all these shots late. I guess I'm just banking on my 24 rookie picks that I'll be able to get Trevion Henderson, Shipley, or someone like that. Because my team is like oddly built now, and clearly I should have probably gone, like we said, the issue was the anchor tight end of going in the 3rd round with Travis Kelce over Kyle Pitts. Mistakes were made. We realized that we just felt like the board was playing into a competitive situation, and clearly it did not play into my favor in that way. Q Moen has had a very good draft so far, in my opinion. A lot of good running backs. He went just 3 studs at receiver, got the stack with Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. Who is he going for here at the 10-9? He just autoed. My man had such a good draft and then took honestly, Darren Waller is not a bad selection. Darren Waller might I think he is the wide receiver 1 for the New York Jets. Not New York Jets, New York Giants, excuse me. Daniel Jones is going to love this guy, and he's going to be open. And the newly married man will get off the Raiders. Who do we don't love Jimmy G, but and we don't love Daniel Jones, but we for sure like Daniel Jones throwing the ball a lot more to Darren Waller than Jimmy G would be. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Like I said, if this is your first time in the stream, welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe. It helps me out as so much as a channel. We've put out 4 videos the last 4 days, putting out another video tomorrow, another video after that. We're going to be doing a lot more of these live streams. So make sure you hop in, make sure you subscribe so that you can get in these drafts with us and just have fun. Darnell Mooney at the 10-10, the 10-11. We will see what coach goes and ends up doing. Ooh, Auto Devin A-Chain, the 10-11. Devin A-Chain is my running back 4 in this class, and debatably might be my RB3. Just depends on where all these landing spots end up landing. Gabe Davis at the 10-12, and then Antonio Gibson at the 11-1. I'm saying this right now. If you have a late second-round pick, I am sending that bad boy out for Antonio Gibson as fast as I can. I was just talking to Jordan, who's in this draft, actually earlier about this tonight, with my belief that with the news, everyone's always like, oh, Brian Robinson's like the RB1 in Washington. Now, this is all predicated on the fact that they don't get Bijan and they don't get Jahmyr Gibbs. But Antonio Gibson reminds me exactly of Jerick McKinnon's role in Kansas City. And Jerick McKinnon was super fantasy relevant over the last few seasons. So I think there's a chance that Antonio Gibson's value gets revived just slightly. Not much, but slightly. So I think a shot at like 210 would be super worth it when you're considering like you're looking at taking, I mean, Tank Bigsby is probably going to be off in the second round. You're probably looking at like Tajay Spears, like Chase Brown, like even Chase Brown might be off the board. Roshan Johnson might even be off the board. And like you could probably trade that pick for Antonio Gibson somewhere between like 2.9 to 2.11. I would see if you have that late pick, try sending that off for Antonio Gibson. And then forget that I told you that if Antonio Gibson becomes irrelevant, but I don't think he's irrelevant because he is a lot more talented than Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson just somehow, him and Ron Rivera were tight, and it was a great story. But I'm all in on Antonio Gibson, all in at value. Of course, we're not trading ridiculous things for him. Dalton Kincaid at the 11-7, Cortland Sutton at the 11-6, Matthew Stafford at the 11-8, and we are back on the board. We do not like any of the running backs currently available. Tight ends, there are some good options. Quarterbacks, we are looking at it's not looking too hot here. Okay, we probably need another running back, but we'll wait until next round. I got to do it. Elijah Moore, the man has returned. Now, I will say this about Elijah Moore. I would trade the 204 to the 207 for Elijah Moore. If you put him up in this class, honestly, after JSN, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston. Actually, that's not the order. I have Quentin Johnston. I have Jordan Addison right now. Then we have Zay Flowers and we have Josh Downs. After that, we're talking like Keyshawn Boutte. We're talking a few guys like that. Like I'm taking Elijah Moore over all those guys. So if you have like a later round pick and you're looking for some actual production, I think Elijah Moore is a great value to be had with him going to the Cleveland Browns, getting the best quarterback. I just lost someone just jumped off the live stream because they hate Elijah Moore. And they were like, yeah, no, I can't listen to this guy talk about Elijah Moore. But yeah, no, I really do love me some Elijah Moore. Jacoby Myers at the 11-10, Sean Tucker at the 11-11, Evan, Tyler Lockett, Zach Evans, Desmond Ridder, and then we are back on the clock. We probably need another running back. We're looking at quarterback. You know, we need a QB3, so we're gonna take a value here with Ryan Tannehill. As much as we don't like Ryan Tannehill and we don't think that there's actual value to be had, he's just a QB2. A QB2 as your QB3, I'm feeling pretty good about that because there's going to come a time where Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson might not be out there and I got to throw somebody in. And Ryan Tannehill's job, he'll have a job this season. He might lose his job this season. I don't imagine he has a job next season. With all the quarterbacks that are coming in this class and next class, it's going to flush some of these old guns out. So I feel pretty good though with about like Ryan. I would take Ryan Tannehill over Desmond Ridder though, 100%. Kendre Miller at the 12-5. We are a huge Kendre Miller believer, but I don't think he's going to get the draft capital, and that concerns us a lot in regards to Kendre Miller. Kadarius Toney at the 12-6. Zeke Elliott at the 12-7. I know Zeke like put on his list of teams like teams that he wanted to play for. Still hasn't signed. Mike Thomas apparently is still not healthy. Surprise, surprise. Last season, I posted on Twitter that I had traded like it was week 3. Mike Thomas had a few good games. I traded Michael Thomas for Sky Moore. I got absolutely roasted on Twitter because people were like, you should take Mike Thomas, which I guess I haven't even seen. Sky Moore's still on the board. I'm taking Sky Moore over Mike Thomas. I don't feel like that is debatable because Michael Thomas might not ever play another game. And now this is a super competitive league. People did like it was hard to get any value done because Michael Thomas hadn't played. The mistake I made with Michael Thomas was I didn't trade him after that high year that he had in 2019. I was like, oh, my team's loaded. I have him. And then I bought Cooper Kupp and I was like, dude, I have Michael Thomas and like a bunch of wide receiver 2s. Cooper Kupp ended up being the wide receiver 1. But if I would have capitalized, I could have traded. I had a trade offer for Michael Thomas for CMC. I was like, oh no, like I'm keeping the receiver. Duh. Mistakes, friends, mistakes. So like I said, if you want to make those same type of mistakes, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps a dummy like me feel loved. Jordan, you're having a great draft. Alec Pierce, I feel like is really underrated. I feel like the Colts, especially with Paris Campbell leaving, even if they draft somebody, like Alec Pierce is still going to have a role. Then we have Jamal Williams, potentially could be the RB1 with the New Orleans Saints after we don't know what's happening with Alvin Kamara. And even still, Jamal Williams is the best running back to play for the Saints since Mark Ingram alongside Alvin Kamara. Dawson Knox at the 13-2. Chig at the 13-3. Chig is one of my underrated buys this year for Dynasty and especially for redraft. I think if you wait on tight end, there's a lot of these good tight ends that you can wait on for redraft. Wan'Dale Robinson at the 13-4. Sam Howell at the 13-5. Jimmy G getting a capable start at the 13-6. Okay, this is another bold take. Like the difference between Brock Purdy and Jimmy G being almost like 5 rounds, even though like Jimmy G just got the contract and like Brock Purdy potentially might not start. That is an interesting predicament. Brandon Cooks at the 13-7. Wow. Great value there on Brandon Cooks. I think like I would take Brandon Cooks over Cortland Sutton. Sky Moore goes at the 13-8, and we are now back on the clock. We desperately need running back, and there's no one that we really love. But we're just going to take Damian Williams because he signed the 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. And we're just hoping he gets touchdowns. And based on him playing with Josh Allen, he's probably not going to get touchdowns. But he has a contract. And some of these other guys, we don't know landing spots. I would love Kareem Hunt if he would sign somewhere. Like, give me Kareem Hunt not on the Browns, where potentially it could be more than just 7 touches a game. But you had to go with Damian Harris. Luke Musgrave at the 13-10. Donovan Peoples-Jones at the 13-11. And Hendon Hooker at the 13-12. So that is our Dynasty draft for the night. If you are here in the chat and want me to review your team, feel free to comment and I'll review your team really quick. If not, we will be going live the next few nights. So make sure you subscribe to be able to figure out exactly when we're going live, how to get in these drafts, and as well as check out some of my other content. I would appreciate if you would do so as well. But yeah, I'll wait here for a quick second as I went off on a monologue to help review a team. You know what, Jordan? I'm going to do your team actually first. So if anyone else is here and wants their team reviewed, let me know. But Jordan, let's pause this, drop this. So you want Patrick Mahomes, Garrett Wilson, Jonathan Taylor. We already hate JT. We already went off for the start. Super great start. Would we have loved another quarterback? Yeah, but like you took value. You took like the best value that you could. Mark Andrews at the 4-12. It just feels like stealing candy from a baby. Josh Jacobs at the 5-1 to be your RB2, even though we don't love Josh Jacobs' age as well as we don't love Jonathan Taylor's age. They both have the contract. They're both at least set for the next 2 years, which is all we can really hope for these running backs in Dynasty. We then get Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love. So like I said, I just harped on the fact that you didn't have a quarterback, but then you for sure made sure that you got Kirk Cousins, solid QB2. There's rumors, of course, of Lamar Jackson, Minnesota Vikings, but we can't bank on that. You then get Jordan Love, who I feel like is the upside shot as your QB3. Like I was saying earlier, I honestly would take Jordan Love over Kirk Cousins, take him over Russell Wilson, take him over Geno Smith that went way earlier. Like we're talking Trey Lance is where I would be valuing Jordan Love right now. And I'd be taking Jordan Love. So I love the value you got with 7-1. You then get DeAndre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, Gabe Davis. So you got the upside shots of Gabe Davis, and then you kind of have the steady reliability of Deontay Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins that I really like as your wide receiver 2 and 3. And then you take the upside shots of Antonio Gibson. We already harped on why I love Antonio Gibson. A lot of value. Like I said, if you don't have Antonio Gibson on your team, highly recommend going to look. Your league mates are down on him, potentially thinking if he's a drop candidate, if you're in a shallower league. If you're in a more competitive league, like people are still not valuing him where he probably should be valued. So I would go look for offers. Alec Pierce was a second round rookie pick last season, had an okay year, and they lost Paris Campbell. So there's going to be a lot more target share open up, as well as hopefully a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. I guess they traded Carson Wentz. I can't even remember the old quarterback they had last year. That's how Matt Ryan. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad. It's been back to back. It's been Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Like all old heads that could barely throw. And then you get Jamal Williams. So I like your draft, Jordan. I like your draft a lot. I would actually probably give this an A-. But you also had the first pick, so I can't give it anyone. So appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Appreciate anyone who watched through for the whole replay. We're going to be doing a lot more of these drafts, a lot more fun, a lot just talking Dynasty. So if you like Dynasty fantasy football content, like below. If you like redraft, we'll be jumping into redraft content starting in June. But for the next few months, we're heavy on this draft, getting everything started up so that if you do have startups, you know the value and you know where to buy and where to not draft. So appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight and have a great night. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.